So before I show you around the case, I just thought I'd show you the box quickly. It does come in quite a big box. You can see there with like a warning, tempered glass. That's about it really, no more other images on it. I just wanted to go through like a few of the little things that are on the box. So 3x RGB LED fans, we've got USB 2.0, we'll look at in a minute. GPU support up to 420mm, max CPU 160mm and 240 radiator support. There's also here as well, we just got all the measurements. So the width's 206, height 465, depth 436. I'm just doing this in case I forget any of this in the video, and it does come in some nice big foam inserts. So here is the case in all its glory, and you can see it's absolutely beautiful. The only other thing in the box is a little accessory bag which comes with some screws. There's a little cloth for cleaning it. There are going to be some fingerprints on this today. It's going to be hard for me not to do this video without fingerprints. We've got some cable ties. Would have been nice to see a few more because we're going to want the management to be really nice. Just lots of screws. There's radiator screws in here as well, and I'm going to show you some radiator support in a bit. I think we're going to start from the top of the case. Now, if you look at the top, which you're not going to be able to see here, but here's a few shots. We've got an LED power reset switch, USB 3, headphones and microphone input, 2 USB 2.0s. Now it's in a really nice black sort of finish, like a metal. Won't leave any fingerprint marks, it's just the glass. There's also a removable magnetic dust filter as well. So that's really nice. I'm going to show you the sort of the side that you really want to see. I'm going to show you that last. Really going to have to apologise, there's going to be a lot of reflections here today. So here you can see the front of the case, and as you can see the whole thing is just surrounded in tempered glass. It's 0.6mm tempered glass. It looks absolutely fantastic. Now, unlike the Corsair cases which have nice airflow in the front, this is definitely limited on airflow. Now there's thumb screws that you need to remove. Let's get these off. I'll show you a piece of the glass. And as for the lighting, I'm going to show you all the lighting and the different modes at the end as well. I've already put a motherboard in here for you to have a little look. So here is the front panel. So it's pretty transparent. There's me, mugshot with messy hair and everything, because I've just got out the bath. And as you can see, it's got this sort of, it's like a hive effect. I will take the camera in for a close-up. The only thing is here you can see that it's not actually completely cut out, and this does really restrict air. There's not a lot of airflow coming into the front of this case. Okay, so here's the cable management area. Now we have about 2 centimeters, 20 centimeters worth of clearance here. This is where the fans plug in. We've got the RGB. You can see we've got a really large motherboard cut out. Now, as for the power supply, I've already put one in. Now, this is an EVGA power supply. It really is quite small. You can't remove the hard drive cage. So really, if I went back about 1.5 inches, I would say you've got about, well, it's 24 centimeters to the cable drive. So say maybe 22 centimeter power supply max that you're going to be able to fit in there. You can also fit quite wide power supplies as well. You're going to be able to fit power supplies that are 140 wide. Cable management is nice. There's loads of little areas where you can clip cables, which is definitely something you're going to consider. I don't normally really do a lot of cable management in the back of my cases because I take them apart so much, but because all this is glass, when I come back to my case build in a week, I'm going to really spend some time on the cable management. And what about the included cables then? Let's have a little look. So we have this power cable is for the RGB fans, so there's no PWM, they're all just straight off the Molex. We've got a USB 3.0 for the single USB 3.0 on the top. HD audio, we have the USB. They're not quite black all the way up, which would have been nice. I know they just like to show the colours on them, but not really for me. And then here you can see we've got all like the HD LED, the power LED. I haven't even seen what colour the power LED is yet, so we'll have to plug that in a minute. You can also see as well down here, it's going to be quite hard to see, but there's 2 removable drive cages. They're just rubber, they pull out, so you can just spring like a 3.5 drive in, or you can also put 2.5 inch SSDs. Now there's options to mount SSDs here, so 2 SSDs, but I would preferably, I'll show you in a minute, I'm probably going to put them in the front of the case so we can have some SSDs. And then we have rubber cable grommets as well for everything, so you've got really nice bit of cable management. They're all up in the top as well, so that's really nice to see. As for the controller as well, now the RGB controller does have space for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 RGB fans, but I haven't been able to see any of the GameMax RGB fans available yet. I've seen a few that I think from their brand might work, but I'm not 100% sure. So we'll have to look into that to the future. Okay, moving on to the back of the case. So there's like the 120mm fan slot I'll show you in a minute. There's a really badly put in motherboard. And then down the bottom here, as you can see, we can fit quite a wide power supply in. And there is also, if I can get it out, a removable dust filter as well. So here's the front of the case, and this is where you're going to show off all your beautiful parts. Everything's going to look lovely. We've got RGB lighting, but now it's time to talk about a couple of trade-offs. What you're going to get for an £80 case that's glass and comes with flashing lights. Well, as you can see, this chassis is definitely being used as another case at some point. This is something that they've used previously before. It's not custom made just for this glass build. So you can see we've got cutouts here from where you would put a window on. I imagine some other companies that have just decided to temper glass one of their cases up have probably done the same, but it's just something I don't really like. Also, you can see in the top of here, I'll try and get you in for a close-up, that we have the two, what would have been the DVD drive bays as well. So that's leaving, you know, just all these sort of holes in the case that just do not need to be there. And the last thing actually is the only thing I really do not like about this case, because I do really like it, is the feet. They're made out of such a cheap, horrible looking plastic. You know, if they were just rubberized or just looked a bit better, you know, that'd be really nice. But anyway, there's the trade-offs. So we'll start off down the bottom then, and as you can see, we've got this lovely big basement compartment, which is going to hide all of your cables. Everything's going to look nice. Now there is space for a 120mm fan above the hard drives, which you can either use to have air being pulled up into the case or away. I'm not sure it needed to be there, but it's quite a nice little feature, especially if you put like an LED fan that's going to glow through all these grills. That's going to look really nice. We've got cable grommets, absolute galore. So we've got grommets to come up for your PCI up to your graphics cards, two in the bottom here for when you go up to ATX motherboards. And if you were using just a slightly smaller motherboard, so here you can see we've got a micro ATX in as well. We've got some nice cutouts again there, so that's a really nice little thought out feature. So here you can see my incredibly dusty AMD 5350 micro ATX motherboard. Now this is where we all started with the channel about 18 months ago, so it's really good to see how much it's grown and how much kit I've got now. But as you can see, if you've got these smaller micro ATX motherboards that only have 2 DIMMs, you are still going to see the cutout from your for your CPU cutout. Now there are 7 PCIe slots here as well, and they're removable with screws as well. They're actual PCI slots, they're not like the cheap bend out ones that once they're out they're broken. And then we've got a 120mm fan in the back here as well. There is a slight recess. I think a fan's going to be wide enough because I do plan to put a cooler in here. Now you can fit probably a 360 radiator in the front there, but you won't be able to do push-pull on a 360 radiator because, as you can see, just throwing stuff about, as you can see that you won't be able to get a fan in there, but you can definitely put a 240 in push-pull at the top. Moving on to the fans then, I know this is what you really want to see, and I'm going to show you with all the glass on at the moment. So here's one of the fan modes that you've got where you can see it's just changing through all the colours, and they've got like RGBs going around the outside, and they are really bright. And they're quite quiet as well, which is definitely a little bit of a worry. When I seen the Molex, I was a little bit concerned that they're going to be super noisy. But the problem is that because you can't control these fans and how loud you want them to go or how quiet, they've done a good job in keeping the fans quiet. It's barely audible. The sound that you're actually hearing now is that. You really can't hear these fans, and I can feel they're just about pushing enough air into the system. But where it really runs into problems is here. Now once you put the glass on the front here, you can see that you've got this like honeycomb cutout. It really does restrict the airflow, and I think you may decide you keep them for a few weeks, but then you're probably going to upgrade to maybe something like the thermal tape ring or the Corsair SP120s. It's time to show you the lights then. So you press the LED button on the top. Now the first one in the cycle, it just sort of filters all the colours, so they sort of fade into each other. Just has a nice fade, and as you can see, it's lighting up the case there as well. And as soon as you've got some other RGB components in there, this case should be really well lit up. Then you press it again, and then now this one just goes straight from colour. You can see that there, straight from colour to colour. As you can see, it's definitely showing up. It's a bit hard to get it on camera, but you can more than see inside this case. So what other colour effects do we have then? So then it's just normal colours. You can have red, green, blue, purple, light bluish. Then we've got sort of like a lime green. And then we have what I think actually looks like a pretty good white for RGB. It's got a slight blue tint to it, but that's really good. And then there's one last final effect, which is called the rave. That one. Less singing, more reviewing. And then there's just off.